Morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar. For those of you who have just logged on, we've already completed a sound test and thanks to everyone who helped out with that. First of all, to introduce ourselves, my name is Rachel Hines and I'm a marketing executive here at BrightPay. Also joined by me today is my colleague Ian Jenkinson, who is a senior sales executive for BrightPay. Today we're going to try something very new. Today myself and Ian are going to jointly present the webinar, so hopefully everything will go as planned. Looking at our agenda for today, we're going to take you through 6 different ways that cloud platforms can improve efficiency and increase profits for your practice. Here we will discuss cloud backups, payroll portals, employee self-service, employee smartphone apps, annual leave management, and finally, client approval and keeping a record of client interactions. After we're done with all of that, for part 2, Ian will take you through a quick overview of BrightPay Connect's next generation features, demonstrating how automation and cloud flexibility can benefit you, your clients, and their employees. All in all today, the presentation should take about 30 minutes and maybe about 15 minutes for a whistle-stop tour of BrightPay, giving us a further 15 minutes at the end to answer any questions you may have. Just to note, if you do have any questions, you can type them into the questions box on your control panel at the right of the screen, and we will try to get through as many questions as possible. The webinar is being recorded and all attendees will receive an email later today with a link to the recording, so it is no problem if you do need to leave at any stage. Also in the email later today, there will be a copy of the presentation slides that we are using today, or you can also download the slides right now if you wish on the Handouts tab on your control panel. Today's webinar is CPD accredited, so if you wish to receive a CPD certificate, please fill in the survey at the end of the webinar, or if you happen to miss the survey, there will be a link in the follow-up email later today, which will allow you to request a CPD certificate. Now that's all the housekeeping out of the way, so we may as well get straight into the webinar. 6 ways cloud platforms can improve efficiency and increase profits.
Payroll processing is best left to the experts, and the steady hand of a qualified, experienced accountant or payroll professional is a powerful commodity that cannot be replaced by software. That's always been true and it remains true, but as much as things have stayed the same, other things in the payroll world have changed.
Yes, the relationship between payroll bureaus and clients is very different to even just a few years ago. Payroll is no longer a one-way service. Instead, it can and should be a team effort. What software has created is a new collaborative framework in which the payroll professional can thrive. Payroll bureaus no longer need to constantly work their way through manual tasks or even put up with the frustration of clients who approach them with every minor tweak. In its place is payroll software with cloud integration that automates and delegates many of the day-to-day tasks involved in the payroll process.
Exactly, and the freedom of client online platforms gives payroll bureaus the ability to reduce time on basic administrative tasks, such as distributing payslips, backing up payroll data, and managing the client's annual leave. That's more time for you to focus on the essentials of running a business and provide a better service.
So essentially what we're going to look at today is 6 exciting ways that client cloud platforms have transformed payroll services. Not in the distant or even medium-term future, this is happening right now. The first benefit we're going to look at today is cloud backups and the new security-conscious client. So backtracking a little bit to last year, I think we all remember the overwhelming days of May 2018 and the lead up to the GDPR D-Day. Employers everywhere, everyone was consumed by a mass panic as the new legislation was on the horizon. But then the day came and passed and, well, although the GDPR is in full effect, the hectic GDPR mania disappeared very quickly as no massive fines or crackdowns actually happened.
Well, that was until just recently. In July, the ICO announced an intention to fine the British Airways 184 million for a breach of GDPR in relation to a serious data hack. The data breach took place when users of British Airways website were diverted to a fraudulent site, and through which the details of approximately 500,000 customers were compromised, including customers' names, email addresses, travel itineraries, and credit card details, including the credit card number, the expiration date, and the 3-digit CVV code on the back of the credit cards.
Yes, the ICO were not kidding when they said there would be fines of up to €20 million or 4% of annual turnover, whichever is higher. British Airways are currently appealing against the level of this fine, and although the £184 million seems massive, it's still less than 2% of British Airways' annual turnover. The maximum could have been up to £489 million. In saying that, it is the largest GDPR penalty to date. Up until the British Airways announcement, the highest fine had been given to Facebook for the Cambridge Analytica scandal, and that was a measly 500 grand. To be honest, it's as if this case kick-started the ICO into handing out fines. Just one day after British Airways received this notification, hotel chain Marriott was also notified by the ICO of an intention to levy a £99 million fine over a data breach. More recently, there's also been investigations into companies regarding facial recognition technology, telecoms company EE, and just last week, gaming giant EA had a data breach in relation to FIFA 20, coincidentally just days after EA appealed to its users to enable two-factor authentication on their accounts. The thing is, the GDPR is still very much around and enforced, and while some might procrastinate on their duties, being compliant now will pay off once the ICO eventually become less tolerant on compliance.
But GDPR's very existence indicates a deeper point. Data security is extremely important in today's world. The introduction of GDPR not only introduced employer duties, but it also made everyone much more aware of the importance of data protection. Clients expect it, especially when we store, process, and send confidential information such as payslips, employee hours, and payroll reports. For accountants and payroll bureaus, using the right payroll software that is designed with data security as a priority will make GDPR compliance a much simpler endeavor. Your data accuracy and compliance improve even further when you add the ability to automatically back up your payroll data in the cloud.
It's important to remember that if you only keep your client's payroll data on your desktop, you are at risk of losing the information. It's important to ask yourself, how prepared am I for a disaster recovery situation? Have you thought about what would happen if your computer broke down or was hacked? Or if there was a fire or a flood, for example? How would you get your client's payroll data back quickly? Would the employees still get paid if the information was lost? Clients not only want, but need their data stored in a secure place. Without cloud backup, the consequences would be dire, but now these problems can be solved quickly.
BrightPay Connect is our optional add-on that works alongside the payroll software. Essentially, it's a cloud integration that allows you to automatically and securely back up the payroll data to the cloud. BrightPay Connect maintains a chronological history of all of your backups, and these backups can be restored at any time if required. It's simply an added layer of data protection to safeguard your client's data. And if the worst happens, you know you can salvage the situation.
Moving on now, we're going to look at payroll portals, which is quite a new term. And when I say portal, I know for some of you, the first thing that comes to mind is sci-fi films such as Stargate, where we become an intergalactic race able to travel vast distances in the blink of an eye. Back in reality, however, there are no bizarre Stargate portals, but there are the more everyday variety of online portals that have transformed self-service and made business simpler. It's not interstellar travel, but the impact of client portals shouldn't be underrated.
Generally, payroll bureaus email reports to their clients each pay period, which aside from security issues, can be quite laborious, a time-consuming task. A client online dashboard eliminates these twin concerns by empowering clients to help themselves. The BrightPay Connect online client portal automatically synchronizes payroll reports and client information to one central online location. Here, clients can access payroll reports that have been set up in the payroll software, and these reports are automatically available to clients each pay period.
And along with the reports, clients can also view amounts due to HMRC. They can access employee pay slips, enter the payroll information for the employees, and there's also a few nice HR features for clients, such as annual leave management and employee document upload. Essentially, there's just one simple client portal that can save you hours every pay period, while also reducing HR queries and payroll administrative tasks. It's great, no laborious, repetitive admin. The next thing we're going to look at is self-service and what we can learn from checkout queues at the supermarket. If you only have a few items, it's faster and easier to go to the self-service checkout. But if you have more complex needs, say a trolley full of shopping, or maybe you need a pack of cigarettes, well then that's when you need human service. All throughout our daily lives, self-service has become a byword for simple convenience and speed. When the task required is simple and we know what we need, sometimes it is simply better to just DIY. Payroll bureaus can offer the same convenience to clients. As we saw earlier, you can now offer clients their own personal employer dashboard where the client can log in and do some of the work for themselves.
BrightPay takes this one step further, offering employee self-service too. With BrightPay Connect, an employee can easily access their own personal payroll information through their employee self-service platform. Employees can view a payslip library and other payroll documents such as P60s, P45s, or P11Ds, and an auto-enrollment communications. These documents can be downloaded and printed by the employee.
Just looking at the Bureau benefits of the employee self-service then, payslips are automatically added to the employee's payroll portal each pay period, which eliminates the need for payroll bureaus to print or email payslips. It's not only convenient, but more environmentally friendly. There is an important distinction to be made, however, when we think about self-service. Self-service is a supplement, not a substitute. For bureaus freed from everyday admin, self-service is an opportunity to offer better, more personalised service. So while DIY is a must-have functionality, it pales in comparison to the specialism offered by a payroll professional. If you're looking for the exact year smartphones took off in the UK, 2008 is probably the best guess. The iPhone and Android had just launched in the UK market, and at the time only 17% of people owned a smartphone. Fast forward to now, and according to Ofcom, that figure has risen to 78%, or if you look at 16 to 25-year-olds, the figure increases to a massive 95%.
And the smartphone is more than a device. It's practically an extension of our limbs. The average adult now checks their smartphones on average every 12 minutes of the waking day. And 2 in 5 adults, that's 40%, first look at their iPhone within 5 minutes of waking up, and climbing to a massive 65% of those aged under 35.
It's crazy when you think about it. Alongside the smartphone's rise is the app. And 10 years on from Apple's famous "There's an app for that" campaign, there truly is an app for just about anything. That's because people are comfortable with using their smartphones to complete important tasks.
You're right, Rachel. As in banking, people rarely switch banks when they have a really good self-service application. And similarly, clients are unlikely to switch to a different bureau when they have access to a very good self-service application, which delivers an enhanced bureau client experience.
For payroll bureaus, it's important to remember that whatever payroll software they use, it complements this trend towards smartphone and app usage. That's why BrightPay have developed a smartphone and tablet app, so employees can access their payroll data wherever, whenever, and on the go.
BrightPay's employee app is available with BrightPay Connect, and it's available to download for free on any Android or iOS device. For employers and HR managers, the user-friendly portal will streamline payroll processing while reducing the number of payroll queries from employees.
For the employees then, the app introduces powerful features on the move. with secure access using their smartphone or tablet. Employees would be able to view and download payslips, view and update their personal details, access employment documents, and even view their annual leave calendar and leave balance remaining, all from their smartphone. They could even request annual leave on the go, and personally that's my favourite feature with my own employee app, just being able to request leave wherever I am. And I think Ian is going to show you how all of this works in a few minutes on the Brightpay Connect employee app. In the run-up to the holiday seasons, such as Christmas and the summer holidays, employee holiday requests transform from a trickle into a flood. Christmas, school holidays and the warmer weather mean people taking some well-deserved time off. For payroll bureaus and businesses, however, booking a 2-week break is far from relaxing. The process of annual leave management can still be a manual, spreadsheet, paper-based, or even worse, an email-heavy exercise.
A surprising bit of research I heard recently is that up to 15% of payroll bureaus' time can be spent managing their clients' annual leave and handling queries regarding remaining leave balances. That's time that you could spend elsewhere providing better service or even taking your own vacation.
Yeah, I think we'd all love a few days off. Brightpay Connect's online annual leave tools completely eliminate these cumbersome people management tasks. It's more than just payroll software. It's a ready-to-go, easy-to-use HR solution. HR software shouldn't be an expensive luxury reserved for bigger companies. Brightpay Connect is affordable and designed with small businesses in mind.
The benefits of Brightpay Connect's online annual leave tools come in 3 main prongs: enabling employers to effectively plan their company calendar and staff resources, employees to request leave on a portal or smartphone application, and employees to access leave taken and leave remaining records. All the while, leave is automatically recorded on the payroll software and synced to the cloud. It's easier for everyone: the bureau, the employer, and the employee. And the annual leave holiday rush should be a reason to be excited and not an administration nightmare.
The final section we're going to look at today is client communications and interactions. I think we all know that everyone hates email tennis. There's a simple task that needs to be performed or something that needs to be approved, but conducted by email, it becomes a multi-message nightmare. These cumbersome emails add up to hours of unnecessary time for bureaus. On average, office workers receive 200 emails a day and spend about 2.5 hours reading and replying to messages. You could pick up the phone and call, but if you have many clients, that's unrealistic too. There is a better way to manage client requests and payroll services. A routine task, such as adding a new employee to the payroll, can be done seamlessly within the employer's online dashboard. Once the new employee's details have been entered by the client and checked by the bureau, the new employee will automatically be downloaded and created in the payroll software. There's no back and forth on email needed.
By using a cloud platform, bureaus can securely send their clients a payroll summary report for the client to approve before the payroll is finalized. Clients can then review the payroll information and approve the payroll run for the pay period through their online employer dashboard. Ultimately, your client becomes jointly accountable for ensuring the payroll information is 100% correct before the payroll is finalized, thereby protecting you as a bureau and protecting your clients.
For the bureau, keeping these interactions within the software also creates an easily searched payroll audit trail. Automated online logs keep track of communications between you and your clients, and should a client ever query the payroll, you have the historical record of the requests, including the date and contact details and information entered by the client. Brightpay's client approval functionality eliminates cumbersome email communications, makes routine tasks easier, and covers the bureau's back by creating a watertight paper trail. It's a win-win situation for everyone. The key takeaway today is that software can never replace the core professionalism of a payroll professional. However, it can supplement it in many ingenious ways. Through self-service, through apps, through cloud backup, payroll software with cloud integration is about making your life easier. You do the hard work, you get the credit, while your software hums along quietly in the background, automating and simplifying repetitive aspects of the job and keeping you compliant. It's here where Brightpay stands head and shoulders above the rest. Last year, our software won Payroll Software of the Year at Accounting Web's Software Excellence Awards. Brightpay also has a 5-star rating on the Software Advice website, a 99% customer satisfaction rate, and is used to process a payroll for over 200,000 businesses across Ireland and the UK. Today, we've only covered 6 examples of how Brightpay's online client platforms can help you become more efficient, but there is so much more on offer. So I'm now going to pass you over to Ian, and today Ian is going to give you a very quick overview of Brightpay Connect. But if you want to find out more, you can also book onto a more in-depth demo with Ian later this week or whenever suits.
Thanks very much, Rachel. Okay, I'll give you a quick whistle stop, as Rachel said, of Connect. So as we mentioned earlier, it's an add-on module to Brightpay. So nothing changes in the way that you operate Brightpay as you currently do. Just by having Connect introduces a wide suite of self-service functionality for your clients, single directors, and for employees alike. And it's all adaptive software. So no matter what media they're logged in from, it all adjusts accordingly to the screen type. And here on the left is the app on the that we talk a lot about as we progress through the demonstration. So the way it works is the bureau, as in your good selves, invite your clients onto the portal like this by sending them an active email. I'll show you how to do this in the coming minutes. And then in turn, your clients actually invite the employees onto the portal. And this is made easy to do because you have given all of the employees email addresses in the bureau when you set them up. And then under the HR tab, you tick the self-service box as well, which it makes it so simple for clients to do. And I'll show you how to do that in the coming minutes. So here's a view that you're more than familiar with. It's one of the companies that's on Brightpay. It's Allen's Auto Repairs. And because they are linked to Connect, the little cloud icon here is now green. So when I click on this, it introduces a small menu of services here. Here's the one to access the cloud backups. You can click here. Here's where you can click to view the employee self-service, all of the email addresses. And it's another place where you can actually, if somebody has to be deleted, access if they've left the company, for example. And then if I click here, it takes us straight to the employer dashboard on Connect. So this is the Bureau Connect dashboard. And here's the 4 tabs, and I'll step into each of these quickly now. And since we're on the cloud here, you can right click on this and bookmark it on your iPad, your PC, or whatever. So it gives you huge access to an awful lot of data when you're not in the office. So here's all of your clients or employers, whichever you call them. So whether you have 300, 3,000, it doesn't matter. They're all accessible here by simply putting in their name. Yeah. Here's the users tab is the next one, and this is where you as a bureau are in charge of everyone who has access to Connect. Yeah, be that in your own company, in the bureau itself, or in your with your employer. So by clicking here on Add, there's 2 types of users. There's an administrator and there's a standard user. The administrator is typically you or one of your colleagues in the bureau, as I mentioned, or a standard user is someone who typically works for one of your clients. Yeah. Here's the requests tab, and this is, as Rachel mentioned earlier, where the payroll request and approval process to streamline all of the data at the time of running a payroll. Yeah. And so if I click here on doing a new request, there's a payroll request and there's a payroll approval. So if we click on the payroll request, it simply pulls out the last payroll from Brightpay and sends it to your client to actually view, so to see if there's any changes to be made. So they simply view it and they get an email in their inbox. I've called it Rachel's Accountants here after my colleague Rachel. However, it would simply be the name of your accountancy firm or your bureau would appear here. So simply click to view it, and your client then can look. So after just those few clicks, the last payroll has been presented here in front of the client to view or change, and they can click on any one of their employees to make any change, or if it all looks okay, they simply behind here click it as marked as complete, and it goes complete, complete, complete. And if I scroll down a little bit further, you can see here as well the comments box, a fantastic feature here, because clients, instead of sending you 20 emails regarding little changes to be made in the payroll, they put all the comments here in the one place. It captures it in the audit trail, so it's really good. And they can add a new starter there by clicking here too. So we'll just click on finished, and all of that data then flows back to you in the bureau, and you can see here it's entered automatically in and timestamped in the audit trail. So if I go back to the request, you can actually send, so when you've made all the changes for a payroll for a client, you can actually go directly back to them and present it back to the client by clicking approval. They get their second email now, it's called an approval here, and they can simply click here to look at the payroll. So this is the finalized payroll, but it's just before the employees get paid. So it gives a buy-in from your clients and your employers to actually view the payroll just before you finalize the payroll and send out the pay slips. Yeah, so they simply click here to view it and okay it, and it all flows back in here, all entered in the timestamped in the audit trail, which is really good. And you can see here, here's the comments boxes if there was any comments left as well. The next tab is the settings tab. This is where you as a bureau can personalize your own landing page. Therefore, when your clients log in, it's actually your bureau logo that they see. So it helps, and your contact details. So it helps you to develop the business and secure the working relationship that you have with your clients. So the next set of screens we're going to look at are the client's view. So you could sit back and imagine you are one of your own clients in essence. So here's their dashboard. This company here called Allen Dollar Repairs. They're on the cloud here as well. So your client can actually bookmark this on their laptop or PC. So here's the main dashboard, and here's the requests coming in from their employees. Here's a payroll request coming in, as we did the example of just there now. The employer details appear here. The next payment due to HMRC appears here. Very handy feature, and I'll talk more about that when I get to the HMRC payments tab up there. The client behind the cogwheel here is where the audit trail can be accessed by your clients. They can view the payroll one here, the holiday one I should say here, and the payroll one here. So if I click on the holiday one, this is where they can view all of their internal holidays, who approved them and when they were approved. And if I click on the lower one, this is the payroll one, who actually approved it in their company, when was it approved, and the timestamp for it. And here's the full archive that they can go back to as well. And here you can see it captured the comments as well in the comments box. So really powerful. The next one is the employees tab. This is where every client of yours has full access to all of their employees. Very handy, because no matter where they are, don't forget they're on the cloud here, that they can go directly in to view their address details, their pay slips, go into their holiday to cancel holidays, maybe mark up statutory leave. All those type of features are all available here at any time. Here's the box as well that they click to invite all of their employees on. Remember I told you made very simple, but there it is. So, and because you have entered all the email addresses for all of the employees, a simple email goes out to them all by that. The next tab is the reports tab. It really touches on the whole self-service capability of BrightPay Connect, because as you can see by the names of these reports, you've actually done all the work on these reports in BrightPay. And by having Connect, you're simply giving your clients direct access to these reports to view 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's really powerful. So by clicking here, say for example, if you're a client, you can click on payroll summary, view the payroll, select the time period that you want to look at, and actually whichever employee, whether it's one employee or all of your employees, you can access the reports accordingly. And as well as that, you don't have to present all of the reports for all clients. You can actually bespoke it and select what reports certain clients want to have access to. So it's really powerful. So we'll just run a report. There's the report. All the data has flowed across from the bureau and presented in front of the client via their Connect product. So you can see here they can just right click on it and print it off if they so wish to. Yeah. Next tab is the calendar tab. This is where every client of yours has a central graphical, simple to use view of their holiday situation in the company. So this color here is approved leave. This is the unpaid leave. This is the sick leave in the company. And this is the statutory leave color here. The handy thing about this central overview is that before they approve any other colleagues' leave, they can quickly log in here and actually click on the corresponding date and to see who's on leave by running their mouse across. The bubble shows them. So before they approve somebody else's leave, they can see if there's many people off in the company at any one time. So really handy. The next tab is the HMRC payments tab. This is where, as you calculate the HMRC payments for the particular client, they actually present here in front of the client 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the handy thing about this is that you can send out one email and put all of your employers and clients on blind copy, and every month remind them to log into their Connect to look at their HMRC payments tab, thereby saving you a ton of time from chasing individual employers, because when they click on the corresponding month, they get not only the amount and all the calculations, they also get the reference number in order to complete the payment. Yeah, so it's really a powerful feature. The next one is the Documents tab. This is where Connect presents the functionality to do a document distribution within their company. So the client simply clicks here and adds any document that they want to distribute to any of their employees. They can distribute documents to the whole company, or they can distribute them to a department, or they can distribute them to the individual employees, like their contracts, for example. Yeah, would need to go there. And as well as that, the eye icon here in Connect means it monitors who's actually opened the corresponding document. So if it's a really important announcement, like maybe pensions or something got to do with health and safety, this is where they access to make sure that all employees have actually viewed it. So it's a really powerful tool for clients to get as a result of having their Connect license. The last set of screens we're going to look at now is the employee screens. So this is where, when the employees get their invitation email from the client, it has an active link on it. By the way, the picture in the background here is where your logo would be, or in this case, where the client's logo would be. So just to demonstrate where the logo goes. And you don't have to worry about passwords, because every employee, if they forget their passwords, they can actually create new ones if they want by clicking here. So you're not going to get troubled with passwords. So just click go and log in. These are the 4 tabs that all employees would have. So if this employee called Carla is on her laptop at home, she can actually right-click this now and bookmark it, so she has instant access wherever she is. But also, don't forget, as we mentioned earlier on in our presentation, that the app is on the App Store as well, and we'll talk about that just in 2 seconds time. So you can see here, as Carla's payslips come in, they all pop in here. Here's her employee details that she has to keep up to date at all times, but I'll get into that now at the last tab. And her holidays come up here, and as her payslips pop into Connect, she'll get an email to her standard email inbox as well, reminding her that her payslip has now available. And if she runs her mouse to click here, you can see it comes up with the secure link where she can click on to go securely to her Connect portal to view her payslip. The My Documents tab is where every employee has instant access to all of their payslips in a library. So the handy thing about this is, saves you a ton of time, because if they need access to these for a bank loan or a mortgage, they can actually go in anytime they want to print them off. So it saves you from printing off payslips. For example, they click on the corresponding payslip. There's all the details, all calculated by yourself in the bureau. So it just flowed across to Connect for each employee to access. And if I click back into Documents, the second tab here has all of the company-specific documents for each employee. So in this case, Carla, here's Carla's specific contract. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if there's any other documents that the employer deemed necessary for that employee to have, this is where Carla would have access to that document at all times in the palm of her hand. The Calendar tab is where every employee has access to view their own personal holidays, not their colleagues, just their own. And you can see here, this stripe here means they're waiting for approval. This is where she had approved leave, her sick leave and everything. Yeah. So if Carla wants to request more leave on her laptop at home, say, she would just simply click request leave from the drop down menu, select a couple of days off. They could select, every employee can select annual leave or unpaid leave as well if they've ran out of holidays at the end of the year, or they could select full days or AM, PM half days. And here as well, you can see that when you give every employee a certain number of days at the beginning of the year, from then on, Connect actually continues to do the calculations and reflect how many days are left for every employee. Very handy feature, because it saves clients a ton of money from accruing for holiday leave carrying forward into the next fiscal year, because it encourages employees to take their leave. So in this case, Carla's put in for a couple of days and submits the request and closes out. The request immediately appears on her employer's desktop here. Carla has looked for leave, and they're simply approved, where they disappear and appear then immediately on her calendar as 24th, 25th of June, and all approved, and the 2 days are deducted from her calendar. So it's a really powerful next generation feature for employees to have in the palm of their hand. I click on My Details, and this is where every employee has to keep their address and their phone number up to date at all times. And that's part of GDPR compliance for you, your employers, and it puts the onus squarely on every employee to keep their details up to date. So if Carla moved to a new rented house tonight or bought a house, she can quickly whip out her phone, change the address, and that change of address goes through to the user. Remember I told you earlier, you set up users in your clients to approve requests from their colleagues. Well, that's the person who approves it, and when they do that, it updates the database in the bureau automatically, so it saves you from having to keep addresses up to date, because the functionality puts this capability squarely in the palm of the hand of the every employee in essence, because they're on Connect. So here's what the app looks like on the App Store, and you're free to download it after this call, because it's employee, you'll see it there, and this is what it looks like, the logo, the employee app. Yeah. So if we click on it, and as employees get their payslips automatically in the notifications bar on smartphones that you're more familiar with, like news tabs and all that, it should get a bright pay that her payslip is available. So it's really good. So if we click on it, you can see here it takes her straight into her, her overview of the application. Here's her homepage, and this particular employee, how many days they have left, how many days holidays. Here's all her payslips, and if we click into the documents section, you can see here. Here's all her payslips that I showed you earlier on the desktop version. Here's the HR documents that we showed you earlier as well on it. And if I click on the payroll, you can see here's all her payslips, all in the one place where she can quickly access them, print them off if she has an application in with the bank. And if we click on the calendar side of it as well, here's all her annual leave that has been approved, and it also shows her how many days that she has left to take as well. If we click on the My Details, as I mentioned there earlier, this is where her address, every employee's address and their phone number are available at all times. So it's a really, really powerful and very easy and very intuitive to use. So that's it from my side. I hope it wasn't too quick, but like I said, it's just a quick overview, and I'd highly encourage you to join one of my online demos that take just a little bit longer, but I get into all of the details in far more detail. So on that note, I'm going to pass you back to my colleague Rachel. Rachel.
Thanks, Ian. And it's now time for the questions and answers, and I see there has been a few questions sent through already. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type them into the questions box on your control panel at the right of the screen, and we will try to get through as many as we can now. So the first one that's through here is regarding the client entering the payroll information. Why do they need me? Will the client not think that they can do the payroll in-house themselves? So this question does come up a lot, actually. Really, if you think about how the client usually sends this payroll information to you, it's probably in a spreadsheet or maybe in an email. So really, the client is still entering this information to send over to you. Once you get the information, the RTI still needs to be processed, auto-enrollment. There's still a lot of work there to warrant your expertise. So yeah, as Ian said as well, there's the payroll entry request and the payroll approval request. You don't necessarily need to use both of them or either of them as such, but you might decide you don't want to use the client entry, but you want to use the client approval and just get them to approve the payroll run after you're finished with it.
Yeah, so you could even if you continue to use the spreadsheet form with certain clients, large clients, you can actually implement those changes. And when the payroll is just before you actually pay and finalize the payroll, you go back and, as Rachel said, go back and just do an approval with the client, where the client can view the payroll changes that they've requested. So it just protects you and protects the client.
Okay, the next question here. Is it possible to automate the payroll runs that need no changes each month? So this is something that's in the payroll software. If you're to use BrightPay, it's on the open screen. There's a new tab that's called Batch Operations. So you can batch finalize the payroll for multiple clients. You can batch check for coding notices, and you can batch send RTI and CIS submissions to HMRC. And I remember recently I was at a conference and I was talking to an accountant who said they hire someone 1 day a week to just come in and finalize the payroll for the single director companies. It's crazy when you can just do it in minutes, just at the click of a button, and let it run in BrightPay. So yeah, you can do that in BrightPay. How do clients log in once they've accepted the invitation? Can they have the logo on the desktop to go into? So the clients can't necessarily process the information, so they don't have that icon on the desktop with the BP. Instead, they have a web address to go to. So there is brightpay.cloud, but if you want to have it completely white labeled where they can't see the BrightPay branding, there is also mypayroll.cloud, and that will bring them to the exact same portal. It just won't have any of the BrightPay branding, so you can add your own logo. So it looks to them as if you're Rachel's Accountants, as we used there during the demo. Is the software cloud-based or desktop? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, it's cloud-based. Obviously, BrightPay remains desktop, but the BrightPay Connect is a cloud enabler. So basically, enables access to this key information in just as we demonstrated there. But again, if you join my online demo, I can actually step into all of that in far more detail and take any dynamic questions during the presentation as well.
Perfect. Are there any plans to add custom leave types so that an employee has more options? At the moment, I don't think so, but we can feed that information back to the developers and get it added to the list. Can you outline what reports are available to monitor the status of clients' payrolls at a bureau level? Again, this goes back to the open screen dashboard that I'd mentioned with the batch operations as well. So that initial dashboard in BrightPay, you can customize it to whatever you want. So you can have the next pay date, you can color code things so that if the next pay date is overdue, it highlights in red, or if it's upcoming in the next few days, you can specify, I think if it's 5 days, for example, it'll show up in a yellowy color. So you can just see at a glance what ones are there. Also on that screen as well, there's a Bureau Statistics report, which you can use for adding your client, the amount of hours for each client and the amount of pay slips per period and per month. So if you want more information on where that is, just let us know and we'll get back to you about it. The next question here, can I add more than one user per client, for example, to access reports and add another to manage the holiday leave?
Yes, you certainly can. You can add as many standard users for clients as you need to. Particularly handy if you have very large clients that have a lot of departments. Say, for example, you can actually set up users for each of those corresponding departments. So you can set up users for that only approve maybe the annual leave in their corresponding department, or if you only want people to view the payslips in their corresponding department. So it gives you huge flexibility. But again, I go through all of that and the capability of how to do that in my online demo as well.
Perfect. Another one here about the users. Can I be set up as an administrator for employers that I act for without being an overall administrator? This is so that I wouldn't have access to my employer's payroll just for the client. So in this instance, you'd be added as a standard user, but you can still be added as a standard user with access to process the information or to process the payroll and to have access to multiple clients, but then you just won't have access to clients that are marked as confidential. Then.
Correct. And that's one way of doing it. And the other way of doing it is actually having a separate Connect license just for your actual bureau. So therefore, if there's only one or two people, executives in your bureau that have only access to it, then you can create administrators for all of the clients because they're on separate Connect licenses. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. But again, I'd be only too happy to, if you want to email me after this, I can explain it in far more detail as well on the demo. Yeah.
Perfect. There's a couple of questions in here about the payroll journals. One is, when will the payroll journal integration be available on Mac? And the second one is, sorry, I had it here a second ago, any plans to link Free Agent? So at the moment we have, or the integration on the Mac is there at the moment with Sage 1, QuickBooks, and QuickBooks Online, Sage 1 and 0. We do have plans for a few more to come very soon. Some of them are in the final stages of development, some are early stages of development. Free Agent is one that we are planning to do. I just don't want to give any timelines of when it will be there. Can the employees enter the number of hours they worked in a month? So no, at the moment there's no facility for the employees to upload any or enter any information about the hours that they have worked. Can an employee with 2 employments use the app on the one phone, or would they need 2 devices? So yeah, an employee would be able to log into a number of accounts on the one phone. You can switch between the different accounts then. If a member of staff leaves the company, how long do they have access to the portal afterwards to access their payroll information?
Yeah, that's actually configurable and up to the client, I guess, to agree with the Bureau just how long they want to give the client access, whether it's a day, a week, or whatever. But typically it'd be a week or so just to download all of their payslips and their P60s and everything, historical information, and then the access is then terminated. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, just reading a few of these here. There's someone asking about the exact web address the clients need to go to. So once you invite your clients, they will get an email with the URL for them to log on. They can bookmark this link and so that they can instantly log on whenever they want. But you can also go to brightpay.cloud or mypayroll.cloud, and that just brings you to the login page as well. So you can use either of those URLs. Sorry, just trying to read a few of these here. When the payslips are available to employees, is there an option to have the pension letters available to them also, or do we continue to send the letters separately?
Well, the pension information and that can be uploaded onto the documents portal for sure, and the employee gets a corresponding email to alert them to that, and then the payslips would go to the library. So they end up going to the same documents tab on their self-service device, except when it's divided. Remember I showed you earlier, it's divided on the left-hand side, the payroll, the payslips will be there, and then on the right-hand side, if you're on the desktop, all the documents will be there, so the pension information. So both would be accessible 24 hours a day for every employee. Yeah.
Great. Can BrightPay software cater for holiday leave years outside of the tax year? For example, most of our clients have a holiday year from January to December, which means this feature is too clumsy for them to use. So yeah, when you're setting up the employees in the payroll software, you can calculate the annual leave entitlement, and you can specify when you want the leave year to start. So it will automatically calculate it depending on when you want it to run. For demo purposes, we tend to just stick with the tax year monthly for just ease of use. Has the payroll the ability to link with pension providers in respect of auto-enrollment for employee pension contributions? So yeah, in the payroll software, we have direct integration with Nest, Now Pensions, the People's Pension and Smart Pension. And we do also have 14 other pension providers, I think it is, where it allows you to create the CSV file. But with those 4, you can click a button and it'll send it directly to the pension providers. That's Nest, Smart Pensions, the People's Pension and Now Pension. Can the client use the API feature to connect with Xero? Again, that's going back to the payroll journals. So yeah, Xero is one of the ones that you can, similar to the pension integration, at the click of a button, you can send the payroll journal from BrightPay to Xero. I think that's all the questions that have come through. There's a couple of other ones that we just might get back to you directly about that. There's a few kind of awkward ones there that we just want to double check as well. But I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for today's webinar. As I said at the start, we will send out a follow-up email later today, and this will include a link to the recording of the webinar and a copy of the slides. And just a reminder, if you would like a CPD certificate for today's webinar, make sure to fill in the survey that will appear on your screen shortly. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. See you again soon.
Bye-bye.